might not be old enough to remember, but Volvo is no stranger to the idea of the crazy estate car. Back in the 1990s, the company created tyre shredding versions of its best-selling 850 and was even brave enough to go racing in the estate model. The company responsible for many of Volvo's motorsport activities is now also involved in creating crazy production models, and none is crazier than this, the V60 Polestar. Styling-wise, you could argue it's quite subtle, other than our car's rebel blue paint, and from the front there's little to give the game away, with only minor tweaks such as the extended lip spoiler, a small Polestar badge on the grille, and stocking great 20-inch alloy wheels behind which are 371mm brake discs and 6-piston calipers. From the rear, it's equally subtle. The chrome trim around the windows is gone, replaced by gloss black stuff instead. You still get the same broad shoulder line we're used to seeing from Volvo, flowing into the fabulously well-detailed rear lights, but there's also a chunky roof spoiler and a large rear diffuser, through which pokes a pair of Polestar exhausts. The interior will be familiar to anyone who sat in any of Volvo's R-Design models, so that means you get well-bolstered seats with a huge range of adjustment that makes it easy for drivers of all sizes to get comfortable. Polestar touches are limited to a weave effect trim on the floating centre stack, a nice bit of contrast stitching on the steering wheel and doors, plus subtle Polestar branding on the seats and the glow-in-the-dark gear lever. Speaking of which, the 6-speed Geartronic Auto is standard on the Polestar and it's controlled either via the lever or a pair of paddles mounted behind the steering wheel. Everything else is V60 business as usual, so that means a dashboard that's angled towards the driver, a clear set of TFT instruments that offer a choice of 3 modes, performance, eco and elegance, plus Volvo's excellent Sensors Connect system that offers not just incredible sound from DAB digital radio, Bluetooth and a built-in hard drive, through 12 speakers and an uprated amp, but also the usual array of customization options and the company's brilliant navigation system. Rear seat passengers should be comfortable enough, although it's not desperately huge back here, while the boot offers 557 litres with the seats in place, rising to 1,241 litres with the seats folded. More important though is what's under the bonnet. That is a 3-litre turbocharged straight 6, churning out 350 horsepower and 500 Nm of torque. On paper, that means 0 to 60 in just 4.8 seconds, but in the real world, yeah, it's quick. It's also four-wheel drive, so there's little drama getting the thing off the line. That also means there's tons of traction for squirting your way through a series of bends, thanks to the Haldex-based four-wheel drive system that can divert up to 100% of engine torque to either axle, and because of that, the Volvo will hang on like the best of them. It's perhaps not as engaging as some of the competition, and it doesn't reward being chucked about like a Subaru might. Plus there's less feedback through the wheel, although it always responds keenly. Also keen is the 6-speed transmission, as long as you've got it in sport mode, where it'll kick down through the ratios without too much provocation. At low revs, engine and exhaust noises are quite subdued, but push things a little higher and it all starts to come alive, complete with a rather delicious induction noise from up front. Because of this, you'll probably find yourself using the steering mounted paddles, and this actually feels quite natural. It's nowhere near as quick to respond as, say, a Jaguar quickshift unit, and we found it had a tendency to delay torque converter lockup on downshifts a touch too long for our liking. What impresses though is the Volvo's body composure. Polestar have fitted 80% stiffer springs than the regular R-Design models with damping to match, and that means despite being an estate car, there's no lurching or pitching about. There is a drawback though, and it's the ride quality. Of course, a car like this should ride firmly, but there should still be some compliance to it. Unfortunately, we feel the balance isn't quite there in the V60. Surface imperfections and cat's eyes make too much of an impact on the cabin, and at speeds things can get a bit too jiggly for our middle-aged bodies. A bigger problem, however, is tyre noise. At speed, and on anything other than totally smooth tarmac, the tyres create an unpleasant booming noise that fills the cabin and gnaws away at your eardrums. Honestly, this is a real shame, because there's a lot to like about the V60 Polestar, not least of which is the sheer hooliganism of a bright blue Volvo estate that can out-accelerate a Porsche Boxster. But let's be realistic about this. The market for a 50 grand Volvo estate with this kind of performance is limited, but Volvo know this. Only 750 V60 Polestars will ever be built, with only 125 of them making their way to the UK. With the company now pinning its strategy on smaller capacity 4-cylinder power plants, the V60 Polestar is a balls-out last hurrah, a nod to the days when Volvo slapped a turbo the size of a dustbin onto the engine of an estate car. So while I might not want to buy one myself, if I saw one in my rearview mirror, I'd get the f*** out of the way.